As a filmmaker living in a 1-1, space is limited. This is actually the dining room that I've been using for my office gear and then just kind of like extra storage. And then we put the table out there. A company said, hey, do you want a desk? And I looked through their links and I was like, I just bought that. And they said, well, do you want anything else? And I was like, well, this is ugly. Yes, let me switch this out. So today we're going to be getting some Amazon furniture. I don't have a nice big studio setup like a lot of my peers. You've seen Vipul with Bindra Productions. He converted his whole garage into an amazing studio that's air conditioned. He uses it for his Google calls, all of his gear storage. It's a beautiful space. My buddy Dalton Smith also uses his garage. He said he was inspired by Vipul. But for me, I don't have this type of bandwidth. I don't have this type of square footage. I have to condense and keep things small, but I also don't run as big of a productions as both of those guys. And there's a thing that I don't think a lot of people consider when they go into the, let's call it the camera industry, and that is, do they want to be a freelancer on a small scale, or do they want to be a production company or somewhere in the middle? And that's fair because it's the beginning and hopefully you're getting into it because you like making videos. But if you can figure out that route, then your decision tree is a lot easier and a lot more clear, because a lot of times you say, okay, I got a camera and now I can do this. Or actually I need a tripod and I need this and that and that. And then you're kind of in limbo because sometimes you're helping out your colleagues or your friends with their video productions. And then other times you're working direct to client and you are not only providing all of the gear, but you're going from concept to deliverable. And sometimes you can accidentally slip into being the ideation component and you are building out their campaign or their social media strategy and not getting compensated for it. That really doesn't have a lot to do with this video, but that is something that I have actively had to reject, which is I am not coming up with your content ideas. I can film them. And a lot of small scale businesses, they just think, oh, I'll hire a videographer and then they'll have a bunch of ideas I can shoot because I'm the business and I'm my little, mom and pop shop, and then they handle all that. When in reality, that is a whole business in itself of getting content ideas. When do you release them? What platforms are they designed for? I could go into that a lot, but what I really wanted to talk about was the space. Having space for all of this gear. I have a 1-1 apartment. It is 830 odd square feet. So the dining room is now the gear room, which is a little annoying, but that is the stage where I'm at right now. I know a lot of other people who are in larger spaces. They can afford a dedicated room and they usually combine it into this is my office/gear room. But with your family growing, you start having to look around and you go, the garage. I can take the garage. I don't know how many of you guys are able to have a dedicated space. If it is the garage, and it's all consequences. If you choose the garage, now your cars aren't garaged, but your gear is safe. Having less gear actually falls in line with my personality. I am minimal, I want to say by design, but it's definitely because my mom had a cluttered home and that drew me to the opposite of I don't want any excess. If it's not being used, get rid of it. I just threw away the FX6 box that's been sitting around for forever. That felt good. Literally nothing feels better to me than buying gear besides throwing away or getting rid of gear and freeing up space. This looks much more my age. This can go away. And we got everything contained inside. I pulled off some of these and snapped them and put it here because this is what I normally do. I usually walk in, take my keys, put them on a hook. These go here. We got a lot of different off wood colors. So we got this wood color. light brown, brown, dark brown, gray brown. Misty's pretty brown too. Eventually I'll get some better furniture, but all this Amazon stuff, it works. It's all held together by like just small screws, and I would like to get a new couch. Don't know how expensive that's going to be. Also, I want to get a new couch once I get a new bigger house. I'm not going to get one for this size. This should have been USB-C, but I'll take USB-A and probably use it to charge iPads and AirPods as I'm like going out, and kind of keep my charging system. Oh gosh, it's a mess. Oh yeah, I got this on Tommy Beale's recommendation. So I'm going to have 3 A7S3 batteries in this singular charge case. That was more expensive than I thought, but normally to charge 3 A7S3 batteries, I have to put 2 in here and then 1 in the OEM one, and it's just like, it's a lot of space that I put in the bag, so hopefully that will condense it into one. This is a nightmare. Let's get out of that for right now. I'll categorize all my furniture as like, this is the furniture that you get for like medium permanence. You're not gonna have this for forever. You don't have to pay the price tag of very strong heavy duty stuff. And I'll probably be moving sometime in the future, so the lighter the better. But in the meantime, like I said, it does kind of look more adult-ish without the financial investment. And that's kind of where I am right now. I'm a little fluid with where I'll be living, and I am buying for that type of situation. I wonder how many people are in their house, you guys, and they're like, I'm here. Or for those of you who are like, I'm here right now, I wouldn't be surprised if it switched up soon. Anyways, Sedeta, the company who gave me this, appreciate you. You have elevated my dining room / office. 2 more things I want to talk about in this vlog. 1, this is now my gym. A couple of dumbbells and then some jump rope. I'll do that outside. And the next one is how private equity is getting into the YouTube creator space. So the podcast that was in the back is called My First Million. And they were saying it used to be all about angel investors, venture capitalists, everything going into startups, and saying, how do we pump money into this and expedite scale and results and cash flow? And the interesting part is now the PE firms are starting to look at creators as those new entities. So in that podcast, they were saying the model is, look at someone who's been making a community that they have a strong relationship with. Same thing. How do we pump money into this? And you deliver on a product or service that the community is asking for or would find value in. It's not like a pump and dump type of thing. It's, we want to continue this relationship because that's how the business will continue. So a couple of the examples were Doug DeMuro, you've seen him, probably the most famous enthusiast car reviewer. He went from that, which was like a very crappy handy cam, probably digital camera, just his early videos are so bad, with a cheap Wi-Fi mic. And then he built so much trust with his community and people gravitated towards him in the space that he says, let me make Cars and Bids, which is an online platform to buy or sell enthusiast cars. So that makes sense. It's not a money grab from left field of like, oh, I'm doing this random product. And people are like, that doesn't make any sense. He gave some more examples of this guy who loves to detail cars, and same thing. The detailing cars was probably his job, but he also enjoys doing it. He enjoys making videos about it. And the investment company said, what if we use our ties and we can find a cleaning agent, a cleaning solution, cleaning pads, stuff that makes sense for you. We know distributors, we know manufacturers, we can get the structure of this going to help you provide a product that your community wants. And like, that's just hitting so many, I don't know, bells, whatever the term is. Like, I got this little Amazon piece of furniture for free. And I'll take it. That's great. I actually will use that. I'm not going to pitch you guys on it because it doesn't really have anything to do with my video company, but it does have to do with where I am in life, and maybe some of you are in that in life where you're like, hey, I'm not spending $2,500 on a massive computer desk like my dad had or something. Like, I can't wrap my head around that type of purchase. This makes sense for me right now. But what I'm trying to see is, I think it will be so much more common for people to have these platforms, these communities, as just like a website. If you ask someone, hey, do you have a website? No one's gonna be like, that's insane. Why would I have a website? That's so much extra work. And to put myself out there? Absolutely not. No, it has become familiarized and standardized to the point where people are like, well, I mean, I'm not a web developer, but I could make a website that just quickly shows people who I am, what I'm about, videos I've made. Makes a lot of sense. I think it's gonna be like that for not just people in the video industry, but for every industry. Any accountant, any house painter, this is gonna be the current form of marketing. And if you can find fun in it like I do, then you can use it to your advantage, because I make like $9 per YouTube video. That's not the goal, obviously. The fun part, which is not even the goal, but the fun part is making these videos, and I have fun doing that. So if I can start that ball rolling now, and then by the time I have the ability to offer something, offer a product, offer a service, it's gonna open up doors. And in that podcast, they said there's also another type of creator, and that is the person who does not want that financial and third-party investment. They are what they are calling creating a lifestyle brand, which is, I can self-contain, self-produce everything on this channel, and it provides me a worthwhile amount of income. The return is worth it. I don't want to switch up my whole life and have to be, talking to investors and manufacturers and product testing. I don't want to do all that. I like the sand hill that I've created. I don't need a mountain. That's not what I'm here for. So some people see value in that. Some people see value in the lifestyle brand, which I think I'm more targeted towards, which is I still own my own time. I decide when I upload. I get to have the back and forth interaction with you guys. And it's a very interesting change in, like I said, not just our industry, every type of communication to your community. I try to tell this to some of my friends. I'm not forcing it like down their throat, but I think if you can find a way to enjoy the process of making videos, it will open up more doors than you can on your own. We'll see if I'm right. I don't know. But that's what it sounds like it's going towards.